warm. 90 degrees in the Decoy trailer. I'm going to try to do this without interruption. The Rye and Duke are out kind of sunning themselves. I fed them. They like air conditioning, but they like to get warm too. So what I'm going to try to do here is go through and show you how I grind on the cutouts. These are all Blackducks. I got 5 of them. And I'm just going to try to do this as quick as I can. One thing I do, just because my bandsaw, well, not my bandsaw, but the way I bandsaw things out, if I cut all the way to the bottom, so here's the bottom of the bill. If I cut all the way to the, oops, there we are. If I cut all the way to the bottom of the bill, that saw is gonna saw would have been all the way up into here, and that's not going to work. So I got to go through and just draw a little bit on the bottom, just as a nice reference for myself. Draw, draw, and draw. Anybody that comes here to the trailer, I draw all over their heads, their bodies, and say, man, do not get inside those lines. So it is warm. I'm looking forward to the fans getting cranked back up. I feel like I'm about to sneeze though too. Super spreader, super spreader. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna grind through these. I do like to try to, I think helps me with my uniformity, that if I do, whoops, there we go. If I do the same thing to each of these, it just helps me be uniform. So I feel like I'm like a magician or something. Oh, all right, so much for that. Crank the fans up, put a mask on. Thank you for following along. I enjoy making these videos. I really enjoy carving, but I enjoy making these videos. I've really tried to raise my production value and quality of everything. I know sometimes the audio is bad, or not. I say bad, it's not the way it could be or should be, just because of all the noise in here, and or if I got something else playing on. This is some really good 30 for 30 podcasts, but I'm not going to play that right now. So yeah, that's what we're trying to make right there. So same pattern. Really happy with that bird. Got 5 more bodies sitting right down here. High density tan cork with a bottom board put on them. Once they're carved up, I'm going to unscrew it and hollow them out so they are hollow. All right, I really have rambled enough. Thank you for following along. If you could, thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, like, share. It is warm. Again, like I said, hopefully the dogs will stay quiet. Fans on. Mask on. I need to adjust the camera now, so there we go. I think that's got it. I definitely would be wearing a glove if I were you. this up, instead of me going through all these heads, I'm just going to do this one head on its own. So where I'm going with next is this part of the bill. That's where I think my eye channel comes in. So it's going to be something like this. I don't usually draw it on there, but I just want to draw it on there so you can see. It's actually a little bit on the high side. Come in here a little flatter. Something like that. Something like that. Like that. This, because of being right-handed, this side of the head, the left side, is very easy for me to do. Get in there and do that. This is more the awkward side for me, so a little trial and error. I do a little bit, just check it out. Make sure it's trying to be halfway uniform, which it looks like it is pretty much. Pretty good. Do, I'm going to come back and take off all this. How about if I use a Sharpie? You can probably see it better. I'm going to come back and take all this off. And at the same time, I'll start to come back and take a little bit of this off in here. But I'm definitely not going to go inside this line here. There's kind of a nice little, sometimes I'll take and draw with somebody's head. There's a nice little block in here that you don't want to touch. And eventually it becomes more like this. Something like that. All right. You'll notice I don't touch that line in there. Really, this whole line, if you need to carve into this line, you should change up your pattern. Right? You need to carve into that line, you need to change your pattern up. Alright, so next in this, I'm gonna go with this foredoom, a little slower for me. Oh, there we go.
repetition. I can understand if this was your first time doing it, you might not just jump in there like that, but this is the way I do it. Really forms that throat in there very nicely. Now once I get that kind of the depth established, I'll work on the bottom part as well as try to blend in the top here. Go back and take wood off. You can't come back and add it, so take your time. Again, for me this is the difficult side, so I'm going to try to reach in through as much as I can before I have to come on the other side. more. So what I do is I'm going to take my knife and right where that, let's see, yeah, there you go, right where that pencil mark is, I want to get in there and clean that out with the knife, something like this. Once I got that, then I can take and come back just into it. So then I get the definition of the bottom of the bill, the face. Now there's still a lot right in here I gotta have to clean out, but that's how I form the bottom of the bill. Become a little more aggressive in here and clean that, take care of that little piece right there. That really just helps form that lower cheek where it needs to go. Right in there. I'm ready to set my eye, and I don't use these all the time, but just to show you, generally the bottom, rule of thumb is from the bottom of the bill to the top of the bill should be about the same distance where you're gonna put your eye in there. So if need be, you can use something like these guys right here, which I've already got set up basically because of doing the Blackducks. One thing I always do is I'll draw down onto this cheek so that I'll be able to see it right there. So when I do this one, then I know that they're halfway equal. So yep, when I'm looking down on them, hopefully you'll be able to see basically where my fingers are. So it's pretty, maybe the light a little difficult, but anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to use 10mm eyes. sharp edge. I'm going to work that down so that we're going to end up like kind of having a high spot here. Something like that. Take off this sharp edge, but I'm not going to get inside this line, right? Then I can kind of take this sharp edge off the bill. I'm going to start shaping the bill up. Transition across the top of the head. I brought it all the way down to where the top of the bill is going to be. I haven't come out here in the bill yet. That's next. So now we've got a really nice smooth transition. This whole side of the head down to the eye channel, on out into the bill. Next, I'm going to come out here and just kind of take the bottom of the bill and just kind of round it up. My drawing is not the best, but something just like that. Just do it to eye. So you got end grain here, right? The grain is running in this direction, back and forth. So when I take and I turn on this edge, I'm kind of going with the grain. As soon as I start to come here, I'm against all this end grain that's right in here. So you got to be careful. You get a lot of chatter, you could hurt yourself. So just be careful. Think about which way your grain is running. Done half of it because I have to come down this side, but you can kind of see how that easily makes a nice transition from the head into the bill. At least I think it's nice and easy. And again, I haven't touched a lot of what I marked off in there, right? So I'm going to take right now, work on getting this sharp edge off. There's going to be a high spot here. I'm going to work this in a little bit here. And eventually I'm going to come out, work that sharp edge off, work it down out into the bill. Right? Yes. different but similar. I am going to come back and just take a little bit out of here. It doesn't look bad, but it is the difference in the two patterns.